Hi, I'm Dan Sanguinetti,
And I'm Russell Lee.
and you're listening to the Christmas episode of Film Rhapsody. When I think of my Christmas experience, the first thing that normally comes to mind was when I was a young boy, playing a shepherd in my primary school's nativity play. Now, I understand that Christmas should be a time of joy, good feelings and cheer. And yes, despite that, I should warn you that I'm about to tell a story that involves a little bit of casual racism and bullying. Though, as all good stories with conflict tend to go, the resolution, perhaps, has led me to where I am today, so please bear with me as I travel to a Christmas past. Playing Shepherd number 2 on the school stage was billed as the grade 3 role of a lifetime. My teachers told me I would have several lines and I would be able to make my mum proud when she came to watch. I acknowledged the role sounded crucial. There were, after all, only 3 shepherds that visited baby Jesus, and they wanted me to be one of those 3. But what I felt disappointed about at that moment was they did not want me to play Joseph, husband to Mary, one of the lead roles in the play. I was not offered the role of King Herod, who orders the death of all the babies to protect his monarchy, or I wasn't asked to play one of the Roman centurions who got to carry a sword and make stabby motions during the play. Nor was I offered one of the 3 wise men who travelled long and far to visit baby Jesus. Their teachers wanted me to be a shepherd, a farmer, and they wanted me to wear a tea towel on my head. I remember protesting about putting that tea towel on. It will help make you look like a shepherd from the Middle East, I remember being told. I must have been adversely aware as a child that, firstly, acting and dressing up wasn't ever going to be my thing, but that despite being of Italian heritage, my darker complexion meant I was going to be typecast into roles. The other 2 shepherds were to be played by some of the more ethnically diverse students as well. But I was also a fairly obedient child who listened to his elders, particularly his teachers. And so I put on the tea towel that I'd taken from the bottom kitchen drawer at home, and with feelings of regret and frustration, I tied it to my head. That regret was brought to a boil when, without fail, moments later, another 7-year-old called me a towelhead. I spent most of my school years growing up in England. We lived in a medium-sized town outside of London. It was quite a nice town, busy, a lot of heritage and history, but one that had grown with the times, constantly being renewed, renovated and modernised. I was also a nervous kid. The regular anxious feelings I experience today existed as far back as then. There was some cultural diversity in our community, but not too much to help me blend in, so to speak. So, without realizing why, perhaps at the time, I sometimes always felt segregated and isolated. So again, without really understanding, putting a towel on my head seemed counterproductive. Well, the night of the performance came, about a week before Christmas, and on one of the final days of the school term. I was the last of shepherds to put his costume on, the tartan pattern tea towel used previously to dry up the dishes at home. I remember stating strongly how I didn't want it to fall off before the play started, so I needed to wait before actually putting it on. But eventually the time came, and the teachers led all the children into the school hall and onto the stage for us to sing our opening Christmas number, Little Donkey. The hall was full, parents applauded loudly, and the kids began to sing. But I didn't. I felt stupid. I tried to hide behind another kid, sort of mumbling the words in case anyone caught me not singing properly. But in doing so, that's where I caught her face. My mum. She was sitting in the crowd just as it was promised to me. She saw I'd seen her and she waved. And because I'll always be my mother's son, I waved back. I was that kid, waving to his mum during the school Christmas play. But it's funny how certain things in life motivate you to embrace what's in front of you. I began singing with all my heart, loud and proud, just for my mum. When she saw me sing, she smiled. And when it was time to perform my lines as I visited baby Jesus in that stable, I gave the performance of my lifetime. My mum has always been a creative inspiration and my strength. She's always encouraged me to follow my creative passions and has been waiting and watching from the stands to see my success. And so, when she listens to this episode, because I'm totally going to make her, a very merry, happy Christmas, Mum. And to all mums, Merry Christmas.
I've never heard that song before in my entire life.
Yeah, it was a song that we sung quite regularly in England.
It must be an English thing.
I assumed that everyone knew this song. This was like central to my childhood. But yeah. Anyway, Russell, welcome.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I thought it would be a little just to walk down memory lane a bit and talk a bit about what Christmas means to me and how it has always been quite a happy period in my life. So in keeping with that theme, tell us about today's episode, Russell.
Today's episode is our favorite top 5 Christmas movies.
Didn't we do this at Halloween?
Yes, we did.
So we're not doing anything original?
No, not at all.
Well, lacking that, we're not doing anything original. Let's kick it off then.
Yay!
Number 5.
Hi.
Your costume is pretty.
Oh, it's not a costume. I'm an elf.
Oh.
Well, technically I'm a human, but I was raised by elves.
New Line Cinema presents the story of one elf who's coming home for Christmas.
Boy. Can't wait to see my dad. We're gonna go ice skating and eat sugar plums. Sorry!
Now,
I think someone sent you a Christmasgram.
Dad!
We should call security.
Good idea.
I like to whisper too.
Buddy's experiencing a world he never knew existed,
But he's your son. What am I going to do? He's certifiably insane.
discovering what it takes to fit in.
Son of a nutcracker!
So new number 5 is the Will Ferrell movie Elf.
It's kind of interesting because I'm not a big Will Ferrell fan, but I really do like this film. It's kind of it's charming, you know. It's sweet and charming, and it's not overly sentimental or cheesy. And it also shows me as a writer that with a good script and a good story, you can overcome the fact that your lead cast member is really freaking annoying.
So what is it that grates you wrong with Will Ferrell? I mean, I think he's one of the greatest comedians of all time. I mean, I wouldn't put him on the top of my list, but well, what is it? Like, come on, Anchorman.
I don't know what it is. It's like I love the 80s
Ron
SNL cast members,
Burgundy.
but oh god, I hate that movie so much.
Oh.
I don't know. I just have this massive disconnect with 90s Saturday Night Live castmates.
Yeah.
Like whether it's Will Ferrell, Adam Sandler, David Spade. Very few get a laugh out of me. But like I said, I do like this movie. It's charming.
So as a Christmas movie, what are the things that, obviously apart from it's set at Christmas and involves very Christmassy things like Santa and elves, how does Elf tell its story?
Well, it's all about Christmas spirit, really. You know, Will Ferrell is full of the Christmas spirit when the movie starts, and of course he has his crisis of faith towards the end, and he rebounds as you do. But I think more than Will Ferrell, it's about his dad. You know, his dad is this corporate sellout. He's this grouch.
he's a Scrooge.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, interestingly, it's probably something that we'll find from all our films in our list, that there's always a character at Christmas who is ruining the Christmas cheer. And you'll find the movies on our list will actually abide to this thought process. Yes, there is a commercial element of Christmas, but when it comes down to it, what Christmas means is family. And it's
true.
not family, not necessarily the family you would expect.
That's why I love Elf. So now, what's your number 5?
I've been down here too long.
This sounds somewhat negative.
To ascend.
From the sewers of Gotham, a new villain emerges.
You didn't invite me, so I crashed.
From the rooftops of Gotham,
Daniel, I don't think this is a Christmas movie.
the perfect enemy.
Just
comes to
wait.
life.
I am Catwoman. Hear me roar. Yeah.
And
That
the only
reminds me of
one
Christmas.
Who can save this city is a creature of the night.
Is it Santa Claus?
Batman Returns.
The ultimate not Christmas movie.
But it is a Christmas movie.
Oh,
When was the last time you saw Batman Returns?
when the DVDs came out.
And what was the first scene?
A riot.
Yeah.
That sounds Christmas. Christmas.
What are they doing?
They're killing people.
No. What are they? Gotham
With the Christmas spirit.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, Batman Returns embodies everything that you would expect from a Christmas movie.
Snow.
Yes, there is snow in it.
Christmas trees.
There is Christmas trees.
Christmas
in it.
presents.
There are Christmas presents.
Mutant penguins.
And there are mutant penguins. So when I was growing up in England, they had a very different rating system, and so my interest in Batman couldn't be fully fulfilled. But considering that the biggest problem was that Batman Returns was such a violent film, and it's probably one of the reasons why Batman Forever was really toned down to more of a kids movie, because the fact is someone like me couldn't watch Batman Returns at that age. And so it was a little bit later in life when I finally got around to watching Batman Returns, and it didn't even register as a Christmas movie. It isn't until I kind of became a filmmaker and someone who really appreciated film did I begin to realize that what Tim Burton was trying to do with the story was actually really sort of capture part of the Christmas spirit that goes into Christmas movies. And very specifically, I mean, you've got the penguin who's searching for his family, and, you know, he wants a chance for, you know, except part of his storyline is him looking like he's actually sort of not going to be a villain in this story, which really sits well as for the character of the penguin. So there's a crucial scene that actually mimics what King Herod does. And it's not a well-known part of the nativity story. And that's when once baby Jesus is born, his mother and father take him to a cave.
A bat cave?
Well, maybe there were bats in there. So,
oh my God, Jesus is Batman.
Well, doing a Christmas themed episode was the worst idea to do it with Russell. Oh my dear. Anyway, so I'm trying to teach you something here.
Please.
So these are just stories. They're not real. Just like Batman's not real. Anyway,
You take
so
that back.
to hide from King Herod's soldiers who are killing all the firstborns, so Mary and Joseph go inside a cave and they hide from the soldiers. The story goes, a spider saw this baby and knew it was Jesus, and so it weaved a web across the front of the cave. And when the soldiers came walking by, they looked at the cave and went, there must be no one inside because the web is perfectly complete and that no one's broken it, and therefore no one must have entered the cave. And so the soldiers kept going and did not disturb the hiding Joseph, Mary, and Jesus. So when the penguin takes all the newborn children, Batman turns up and saves them, just like the spider.
Number 4.
To be jolly, fa la 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 la.
After vacationing across America and throughout Europe,
Take it, Russ.
this holiday season,
La 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 la.
the Griswolds are going to play it safe.
Clark, we're stuck under a truck.
Oops. They're staying at home.
I give you the Griswold family Christmas tree.
Hope you're not getting sap all over your sweater, Clark.
All Clark wants is a quiet, old-fashioned Christmas.
Sorry. Got a little knot here. You can work on that.
What he's going to get is the gift that keeps on living.
Merry Christmas.
His family.
We didn't come to impose. Oh, hell, there's plenty of room.
Do you sleep with your brother? Do you know how sick and twisted that is, Mom? Well, I'm sleeping with your father.
Have you got a kiss for me?
You better take a rain check on that, Art. He's got a lip fungus they ain't identified yet.
But no.
So my number 4 is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So why do I love this? This is kind of the opposite reason for Elf. Like Elf is a movie that I enjoy despite who's in it. This is a movie I love because of the Griswolds. I grew up with these National Lampoon Vacation movies, and this is hands down my favorite. It's something that's always played at Christmas. I'm sure it's going to be on TV next week. For me, this is total 80s SNL at its best. Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, these guys who went on to become massive stars from SNL. This is why we love them. So yeah, this is a big part of the Christmas season for me. That's kind of why I love it.
So just based on your previous film where you said you quite like Elf, but you don't like many of the 90s SNL stars, sort of saying that you've got a bit more affection for the 80s SNL stars.
Totally.
What do you think is the big difference?
I don't know. I think maybe in the 80s, maybe it had a bit of a sarcastic bend to some of the comedians. They're all sort of these cocky guys. I don't really know why the disconnection. It's just the 80s guys seem to be more fun, seem to have more personality. You watch an Adam Sandler movie and it's pretty much playing the same character in every movie.
I could probably agree with that. I'm not a big Adam Sandler fan. His comedy is very...
Yeah, I do. That said, I do have some Adam Sandler movies I really like, but
The Waterboy is probably one of my favorite Adam Sandler.
Big Daddy.
Yeah, Big Daddy. Yeah, Big Daddy was probably one of his better ones.
Yeah,
it was the kid that made that movie. But probably his best movie is a Christmas movie. And that is 8 Crazy Nights.
The cartoon.
8 Crazy Nights of Hanukkah. That probably is one of his funniest. I mean, there is still a few of those little like Adam Sandler poop jokes that you're just like, ugh. But as a Christmas movie, it just captured the music, the feelings, the crisis moment of, Christmas is all over, and it is probably one of the only Adam Sandler movies that I would credit liking because of Adam Sandler. When a lot of the other Adam Sandler movies is because of other characters being memorable or interesting or funny. 8 Crazy Nights. Yeah. I mean, that film would probably be in my top 10, but it's not in my top 5. So...
What is your number 4?
My number 4 is...
Hello, girls. Caitlin, come help me in the kitchen. Hurry up, because I forget where it is.
That's her mom. She's got amnesia.
What if you couldn't remember your real name, your first kiss, or your last goodbye?
I don't remember.
Honey, you have an ETA on that carrot?
Stow it.
And then suddenly...
I used to do this. I'm a chef. Yahoo!
Without warning...
Give me something else.
Celery! Scallions!
Ah!
All your memories...
Name's Charlie. I'm coming back.
Came flooding back to you.
Evening, Charlie. Long time.
One bullet at a time.
I got movement on Samantha Kane.
You kidding?
I may have a lead on someone. May still have some of her stuff.
This man, he's going to help me find some things out. So we'll be safe.
Your full name is Charlene Elizabeth Baltimore. This could be trouble.
My name is Samantha Kane.
No, forget all that.
I'm in the PTA.
Then quit! You're an assassin working for the United States government.
We have 24 hours. We find her, and we kill her.
So, your number 5 film was about a superhero. Your number 4 Christmas film is about an assassin.
Yes, but it's not a Christmas... Well, it's not a filmmaker's Christmas list without a Shane Black movie on that list.
Well, that is true, yeah.
No, and obviously not directed by Shane Black. A Long Kiss Goodnight, directed by...
Rennie Harlan.
Love
Rennie Harlan.
And starring his wife, Gina Davis. Most filmmakers tend to always put a Shane Black movie in their list when they're talking about Christmas because Shane Black writes...
So what about this movie do you dig?
All Christmas movies need to have a sense of family. I think without that as the central core of a Christmas film, you don't tend to then have much of a scaffold to work behind because that's what it means. And I mean, you have to look at it also from a perspective of the American experience of Christmas. Mm-hmm. It's very different to Australia. Australian Christmases tend to be more about barbecue and beach and sun. rather than the chill and cold of a Christmas winter, where you've got to stay close to your family and huddled because it's cold and
We'll get there eventually.
with climate
change and
change,
all, yeah.
climate change destroying. Well, the other way seems to be, I think we're going to burn. I think, it's going to be a devil's Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
And so with The Long Kiss Goodnight, it does very well to set, and as that trailer gives off, it feels like it's just another sort of romantic Christmas story. Wife with memory problems, trying to remember who she was and all that sort of thing. And rather than sort of being she was like something pleasant, like a corkcrawl, as she suggests, or she was just somebody who forgot her family at Christmas. She's actually a hardcore sexy assassin.
Does she have two families or just one?
No, she actually doesn't. So the whole reason why she got out of the assassin world, spoilers, is because she's pregnant.
Oh my God, this is Kill Bill.
It is very Kill Bill. That's very interesting. Yeah, there's a bit of Kill Bill in that. For me, it's a nice twist on it. And I mean, even though the whole thing is a dark, violent, noir story, especially when you got Samuel L. Jackson's detective character coming in, but his story even is that he hasn't seen his family for Christmas. And so in the end, what everyone wants is to be around their family, spend time with the people that they care about. It's just that this has got massive explosions and gunfights.
Sounds like Christmas, eh? Number 3.
7 o'clock, Psycho sees Santa's workshop, and only Lee Majors can stop them. In the night the reindeer died. Be here.
You can't show that commercial. That thing looked like the Manson family Christmas special.
Think I'm way off base?
Looked like a Shane Black movie.
You're a tad off base, sir.
Frank Cross is more than the youngest network president in television history.
Call security, have them change his locks, and toss him out of the building.
Oh, he's fired? It's Christmas.
Thank you. Call accounting. Stop his bonus. Oh, watch out.
He's a thoughtful boss,
Thanks, boys. Get the nurse.
a generous brother,
What did he give you last year?
I don't remember. A shower curtain. Excuse me, ma'am. I think you dropped something here.
and a true humanitarian.
I can't get the antlers glued onto this little guy. We've tried crazy glue.
Have you tried Staples?
But his life is about to change.
That was a good one.
You are going to be visited by 3 ghosts tomorrow at noon.
God, tomorrow's bad for me, Lou. As a matter of fact, the whole rest of the week is a washout. Ow.
Anyone who thinks he hates Christmas is wrong.
That's right, Russell. Everyone who thinks they hate Christmas is wrong.
I don't hate Christmas.
Oh, well, tell me about Scrooge then.
What can I say? Growing up, there was always a Scrooge or a Christmas Carol movie on. I can't remember if it was the movie with Albert Finney or not, but there was always one on every Christmas. Somewhere along the line, we stopped seeing those movies on TV, and this one sort of became part of the Christmas tradition. What I love about this movie is that it both honors the original story and finds a way to update it. It turns it into something fresh, original, and plus, you can't not love the fact that it both parodies and goes meta on it. It's just so much fun.
I must admit, Scrooged is a very interesting take on the classic Christmas Carol story.
It's dark, but it should be, because Scrooge isn't a very friendly character.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's the most done story. Like, if you were to do a Christmas Carol type story, it's going to be that.
It's right up there with Dracula, the amount of versions.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Again, because it really does, reverts to that feeling of what it means to care about the people around you, what it means to have family, and it again refers to the, I guess, if you look past the commercial ideals that Christmas has become.
Where you can easily take your family for granted.
That's right. It really does come back to is generosity, goodwill.
Connecting with loved ones and sharing the moment.
Yeah, that's right.
And cocaine.
And cocaine. And so, speaking of cocaine, I mean, it fits in really nicely with my number 3, which is exactly the same story.
Coming soon on video cassette, Walt Disney Pictures presents a Jim Henson production of a classic Christmas tale.
Humbug.
He's the world's greediest man.
It's Ebenezer Scrooge.
Until the magical night he meets someone extraordinary.
Hello.
The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yay!
minute.
Yeah.
Are you saying that Kermit the Frog is on cocaine? Oh my God, is this why he's having an affair with a pig? Oh my God, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, I think Russell's just worked out the Muppets. Or at least where the Muppets came from in the first place. The Muppet Christmas Carol is my number 3 film in this countdown. Christmas is not complete without the voice of Kermit the Frog. And even better when you've got Michael Bloody Caine being a Scrooge.
How the hell did a pig give birth to frogs?
The Muppet Christmas Carol, the songs that make up that film brings so much joy to me. And this film is not a childhood memory thing. All right? I saw this movie when I was younger, sure. It wasn't until I was a grown adult that I really, truly appreciated what the Muppets do to, I guess, my mood, my Christmas spirit.
Oh my God. Did someone eat like Robin's leg off? Is that why he's playing Tiny Tim? Oh my God. I wish I never got Disney Plus in the first place. Oh my God, it's horrible.
What I think the standout characters are in this is Gonzo and Rizzo. They don't have major parts, but they seem to come along for the journey in characters. I think they even self-acknowledge that don't exist in the Christmas Carol story, which I think gets the first big laugh for me out of it. But, you know, for what the Muppets do in general, like beyond the Christmas realm of particularly this list, the Muppets are something that I go to when I am feeling awful. You know, when I'm really struggling with life and things and the struggles that come with you know, running a business, you know, fighting to you know, make it a living, to try and live towards my dreams. I find that when I go to the Muppets, it gives me a sense of peace. And that's what the Muppets Christmas movie does for me at Christmas. When I put this on, and I will be putting this on in the lead up to Christmas. Out of my 5 movies, this will be the first one that I will play to get me into the Christmas spirit as soon as we close up office at Sanguinary Media.
Number 2.
Prophecy has come to pass that there would come to us a chosen one, and that he himself would be an artist and a skilled maker of toys. From this day on, now and forever, you will bring our gifts to all the children in all the world. This is your legacy and your gift, as is the gift of fright.
It's them!
Every year, the magic happens again.
Merry Christmas! It certainly should be.
Until now.
What are you? I'm an elf. An elf? Yes. You mean like a fairy?
I mean, I'm talking modern methods of production here. I'm talking assembly line.
Whoa. Hold on.
What?
Was that Dudley Moore?
Yeah.
Is this Santa Claus?
Yeah, it is. Santa Claus, the movie.
Oh my God.
Woo!
This is not. Why is this not on my list? This is like the most.
You're the Scrooge.
This is like the most ultimate Christmas movie.
Damn straight it is.
And it had John Lithgow in there.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I've seen this movie since.
And Christmas 2.
There's a sequel?
No. He invents a new holiday in March. Christmas 2.
Gotcha. I was just saying it. I don't think I've seen this movie in 30 years.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
25 years, maybe.
Now he's dead inside.
Well, this Christmas,
Dudley Moore as an elf.
Well, see, living in England, this movie would play all the time. In Australia, you don't watch TV at Christmas. You're outside playing cricket. Well, I don't play cricket.
I'm doing it all.
What do I do at Christmas? No, I'm building Lego. Let's be honest. Or playing PlayStation 4. But I don't watch Christmas movies. Not in Australia, but in England we used to watch them all the time. Anyway,
this was one of the first films I ever saw in the cinema. I was about 7 years old. Some family friends took me out to the Monica Cinema for the first time. I think it had just opened, and this is the film I saw. You know, it's a bit sentimental, which I can take or leave, but it's just so damn inventive. hands down, David Huddleston is one of my favorite cinematic Santa Clauses. He's just so warm and kind as a big guy. But there's all this sense of realism to him that a lot of movies like the Santa Claus and Fred Claus keep trying to pull off, but they just can't seem to do it. And then, of course, on top of that, you got Sir Dudley Moore. He was just so much fun as one of the elves. And, of course, John Lithgow steals the show, man. He's just hands down one of the most over-the-top villains in all of cinema. And it's Santa Claus the movie, man. I just love this movie so much.
I'll have to admit, between John Lithgow's greatest villain performances, it's between this movie, Cliffhanger, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension.
I can't even remember his villain in that.
Oh, he was great in it.
Oh.
Plays a crazy alien. Like, it almost feels like he's about to rip his skin off and reveal his alien interior, but never quite gets there.
Not into the third act.
A bit like the Men in Black character that rips his face. He's got like...
When we're talking about menacing, we're really talking about the Men in Black villains.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, John Lithgow is great in it. But yes, out of those three movies, it's quite even. I love Cliffhanger, Rennie Harlan again.
We're really going to do a Rennie Harlan marathon here.
Or something like that. But yeah, Santa Claus.
So basically, in short, I think this is a big part of why I grew up loving storytelling. Because it's just, it takes the idea of Santa Claus and just makes it so inventive. It's practically Santa Claus as a Lord of the Rings movie meets 80s suburban stuff with, of course, you know, your happy little homeless kid and the nice little girl, and oh my God, John Lithgow is her evil uncle. Perfect movie. Love it. What's your number two?
It's against the law to commit suicide around here.
Yeah, that's against the law where I come from, too.
Where do you come from?
Heaven?
What'd you say just a minute ago? Why'd you want to save me?
Is it too much to have them work and pay and live and die in a couple of decent rooms and a bath? Anyway, my father didn't think so. This town needs this measly one-horse institution, if only to have some place where people can come without crawling to Potter. I'm leaving right now. I'm going to school. This is my last chance.
But they'll vote with Potter otherwise.
You can't laugh off this Bailey Park anymore.
Bailey family's been a boil on my neck long enough.
Do you realize what this means? It means bankruptcy and scandal and prison. That's what it means. I'm worth more dead than alive.
Why don't you go to the riffraff you love so much and ask them?
I suppose it'd been better if I'd never been born at all.
All right, you've got your wish. You've never been bored. You've been given a great gift, George. The chance to see what the world would be like without you.
I think we should probably preface this by saying that we, of course, have watched this actual trailer on YouTube, and I think we might even put the link to it in the description. This, of course, won't spoil what the movie is. This isn't, of course, the original trailer for the movie, but it's like a re-release trailer, and we just thought it was such an awesome, awesome trailer that didn't spoil too much, but actually made me, for the first time in my entire life, want to see this movie.
Yeah, it actually captured, whoever made this trailer did a fantastic job, because it captures everything that makes It's a Wonderful Life a beautiful film.
Yeah, it's just such an awesome trailer.
And yes, okay, let's fall into the cliches of, yeah, all right, it's a Christmas movie. It's the greatest Christmas movie ever made. But, you know, and as everyone who knows the history of It's a Wonderful Life knows that it was accidentally the greatest Christmas movie they ever made. Because when the filmmakers forgot to renew the copyright,
It went to public domain?
Yeah, it went to public domain, and the TV station said, we need a cheap, free Christmas movie to put on to fill our Christmas TV guides. And they picked this free movie called It's a Wonderful Life, and they played it every single Christmas for years. And so people just connect Christmas to It's a Wonderful Life.
You know, I haven't actually seen this movie.
I know, and we discussed this before we started recording. I was a little bit shocked, but I completely understand. And I have to admit too, it took a long time for me to watch it. Now, my connection to It's a Wonderful Life actually comes from another British property from Christmas.
Doctor Who?
Oh, not quite Doctor Who, but close.
EastEnders?
No, Red Dwarf. So Red Dwarf's Christmas special actually parodied It's a Wonderful Life, and the character of Dave Lister found a lot of solace in that story because, again, it kind of follows that similar Christmas Carol mold. It's about somebody who sees a world that exists without them so that they get understanding of where they are in life. They understand, so it's a way of reflecting back on themselves.
Sounds almost like my life sometimes.
Yeah, like what the Christmas Carol story does is that it takes a character who is just so
disconnected from humanity.
That's right. And they have to learn about themselves. What would life be if they weren't part of the world? And that's what A Wonderful Life does.
So this is kind of like A Christmas Carol.
It is. It's, again, another iteration of the Christmas Carol. It's very much connected to the story of Christmas Carol because it involves an angel or a ghost essentially giving an insight into a world where he was not there. I'm not surprised that you haven't seen this because it's a movie that doesn't tend to get viewed that often by people who don't know anything about it. If you've not heard about It's a Wonderful Life, you may have heard of it, but you've not experienced it. If you've never watched it and you've been like, I'm not into that, like I don't want to follow the crowd because everyone says it's the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
Beg to differ.
Well, it's number 2 on my list, so obviously I don't think that. But the fact is that there is something truly special in the way that this iteration of the Christmas Carol really comes out. The movie is structured in such a way that majority of it deals with the kindness, patience, and goodwill of the main character. He believes in his community. He believes in his family. He sees good in everybody. And things out of his control happen where it just gets worse and worse and worse. That's what more the film is about. It focuses a lot more on this journey that George has to go through in desperate times of financial difficulty, in swindling by corrupt people. And every step of the way, he's like, no, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep giving. I'm not going to give up until he gets to that point where he's like, I give up. And this is why I find the film so powerful. And I mean, look, it's made in 1946, and yet it is so relevant today because it's very easy for us to find that, despite all our struggles and things like that, that it's easy enough to just give up. And what happens then is he is shown why he shouldn't give up. Of course, that's only part of it, because where the film then concludes is that not only does it give him a new lease on life to see that a world without him is not right, then everything comes together at the end that vindicates that point of view. And that's particularly in the way that his family, his friends, his colleagues, and his community rally round him to save the day. The real hero in It's a Wonderful Life is not George, and the real guardian angel is not Clarence. It's his wife. And you will see that in that story. The power that, and it's not about the power of a good 1950s wife at all. It's actually just the power of love and what it can do. And that's why this film stands as one of the best Christmas movies, because it captures everything you need to feel during Christmas.
And now, number 1.
Billy Pelser has a nice home.
Billy, is that you?
Yeah, Mom, it's me.
A nice job. A nice girl.
If you're not doing anything this Thursday night, maybe you'd like to go out on a date with me?
I'd love to.
And loving parents who are about to give him...
You're gonna like this. No, don't shake it. We're gonna have to open it now. It won't wait till Christmas.
the most unusual gift he ever got.
What is it?
It's your new pet.
Come on, Barney, be a good dog. My dad gave it to me.
But there are a few things to keep in mind. If you expose it to the light, you may hurt it. If you get it wet, it will multiply.
All that from water? They got wet?
Yeah, plain water.
And most important, no matter how much they beg, never let them eat after midnight.
This is what Christmas is all about for me. Horrible little monsters running around causing trouble and destroying everything. Gremlins.
Oh, so not children.
No, not children.
But gremlins. The same thing.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. There's nothing I don't love about this film, man. It's just such a fun, timeless story, dude. It just oozes everything I loved about Steven Spielberg growing up, even though Joe Dante directed it. I just love this movie so much. I named my dog after the Mogwai in it.
What's your dog's name?
Gizmo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've seen this movie so many times over the years, man. It just never gets old. You can't say that about a lot of movies, but you can say that about Gremlins. And for me, Gremlins is just the perfect Christmas movie. It captures the Christmas spirit while not being hokey, and it's always entertaining. Daniel?
So you know how you haven't seen The Muppet Christmas Carol, and you haven't seen It's Wonderful Life?
Don't say it.
No, I've seen Gremlins. I thought
Jesus, my
I thought I'd give you a
God.
heart attack because I have seen Gremlins.
You better have.
Interestingly, though, just because probably my age, Gremlins wasn't iconic.
Gremlins came out on your birthday.
Well, it may have come out on my birthday.
Yeah.
But literally my birthday, right?
Yeah.
1984.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my age, Gremlins never became iconic for me as a growing up person. It could also connect it to my upbringing, that being the oldest in my family, watching the more, not violent movies, but the more adult-orientated movies, PG-13, was a bit of a struggle for me to be able to watch. And so being that it was a slightly older movie, I did not get to experience it until I was probably in my mid-20s. So it never connected to me in the same way I know Gremlins connects with a lot of people. But that's because I had other movies that kind of sat in its place. When I first saw Gremlins, what I think I really loved about it was the sort of, despite it being a slight horror film, there was something really magical about it. It was again just another darker look at Christmas, but still embodied the same Christmas values that were just involved in all my Christmas movie watching and viewing as I was growing up. And so I was able to relate to it in when I eventually got around to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a great movie, and it just does deserve to be high up on your list.
Damn straight.
Number one.
And this decade, we're getting Gremlins free.
We are?
Sure. This decade for certain.
You think so?
Maybe next decade. By 2035, we will have Gremlins 3.
Hiya, pal.
Deck the halls with Marv and Harry.
Yes.
Make their Christmas not so merry. Give them bricks and give them riches. One more Christmas in the trenches. Toss some paint cans down to greet them. Send the toolbox down to meet them. Serve the nails for Christmas dinner. Kevin is declared the winner.
May I do the thinking, please?
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
So let's recap. Batman Returns.
Yep.
Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yep.
The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yep.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yep.
Home Alone 2. Lost in New York.
Yep.
This is a fucked up list. I worry about you, Dan. Thank you for directing my horror movie.
Yeah, this is why I believe maybe that I have a growing career as a horror filmmaker. Christmas for me is an interesting time of year.
Also,
but And I will stick to my argument, as is with Batman Returns and Long Kiss Goodnight, Muppets, Wonderful Life, and Home Alone 2. It comes down to family. And those, no matter who they are, like, they can be messed up people, but they mean something to you and they give you some sort of joy in life. Now, Home Alone 2, all right, so when we were working on this episode earlier and planning our movies together, I put out on Twitter, like, what will be our top 5 movies, and giving an opportunity for people to sort of guess what our top 5 is. There was only one person that got kind of close, and that is a previous guest of ours and a good friend, Declan Shrub. And he thought that potentially the top 5 would be Die Hard, which we've talked about, but is not in our top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Love Actually, because he knows I'm a romantic, and Love Actually is in the top 10, but it's not in the top 5. Christmas Vacation, which he picked from you, which was great.
I still say he's a witch.
He also said something by Shane Black, which
is every single movie Shane Black has ever made.
So it was an easy guess, but he also is very aware that when filmmakers talk about Christmas, they're going to talk about Shane Black because it's just what filmmakers do. We love Shane Black for some reason. He also said that Home Alone would be my number 1.
You were wrong, kind of.
And don't get me wrong, Home Alone is a great movie, and it's a great Christmas movie. But there is something about Lost in New York, and it's not Donald Trump.
Is it Tim Curry?
It's definitely got a lot to do with Tim Curry.
Is it Rob Schneider?
It's got a lot to do with Rob Schneider, but it's not in my top 5. And there's a good reason for it, because in Home Alone, Kevin McAllister was stuck at home.
Mm-hmm. Hence the title.
Hence the title. In Home Alone, his mission is basically to save his home, which is a high stakes sort of thing. I mean, protecting your home is a big deal. And I feel that, though, that the themes are a bit different in the first movie. The themes are more selfish in a way. It's about Kevin coming to terms with his place in his family. It's coming to terms with
not being a brat.
Yeah, not being a sport child. He's got to learn to grow up. He's got to learn to accept. He's got to find his place, which, it's a great Christmas kind of journey for any character in a Christmas movie.
Worked for Scrooge.
That's right. It's almost like a Scrooge story, coming back to the Christmas Carol again.
Oh my God, there's only one Christmas story, isn't there?
It feels like it. But this is why I think Lost in New York is my favorite Christmas movie, because it does one thing different that I think it stands out from the others. And that is, Kevin is completely selfless in this movie. Because what he does is that he saves Christmas for a whole bunch of orphan children. Right? His motivation isn't about self-preservation. It isn't about himself in that he has to, find a safe place to be at Christmas, or, he has to protect something that belongs to him. He ultimately commits a crime to save a whole load of underprivileged children. And that completely just attaches to my heart, attaches to my emotions of Christmas and what I think Christmas should be about. I mean, he rejects the commercial side of Christmas. He doesn't need all these things you would expect you would want from Christmas. He embodies that meaning, and he goes out to save the orphans. I mean, and as a film, it's quite funny because what it does is that he does all these selfless things, these amazingly selfless things where he's risking going to jail for assaulting and attacking 2 innocent robbers. Well, as innocent as they come, they're just numbskulls.
They're just doing the thing.
They're just doing their thing. They're doing their job. But he does that to help save the kids, and by protecting the profits of the toy store, he embodies what Christmas is about. However, to sort of bring the story together, I find it quite entertaining that the filmmakers decided that to reward him at the end, the toy store gives him a whole load of presents. So it kind of undoes its own argument in some ways. If he never got all those presents and he just got his family back at the end.
Including Buzz,
it would have probably stuck. But of course, for some reason, because it's America, he got rewarded. He got rewarded for all his good deeds that he did, which, it does undo some of the messages that, are created through that. But I have to say, as I started this episode talking about my relationship with my mother, and I know, Russell, you're relationship with your mother when she was alive, that it was special at Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Special every day too.
Yeah, and I think why I put Lost in New York as my number one is due to that beautiful scene at the end when his mother tries to find where his son is in New York, and she's asked, where would your son be on Christmas Eve? And he said, well, he would be around the Christmas tree, enjoying the Christmas lights and everything that comes with that. And she realizes that he's standing outside Rockefeller Center, where the biggest Christmas tree in New York is kept. And that moment where he's there and he's talking to the tree as if it was like Santa or something, and he's like, I just, regardless of everything, all I want is my mum. And there she was.
That's lovely. And that's why Home Alone 2, Lost in New York is your favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah. All good things do come to an end. And here we are, 12 months later from when I first conceived this podcast, as a form of self-help therapy, navigating the perilous paths of independent filmmaking. We produce 10 mostly diverse podcasts featuring many colleagues and friends who share their insights and journeys as content creators. I want to thank my co-host Russell, who has spent tireless hours editing down our recordings to create interesting and informative episodes. I was determined not to present a weekly rant where we sit behind a mic and talk untethered for hours upon hours, but in all honesty, our recordings weren't far from that at times, and so we have Russell to thank for keeping our episode durations to a respectful length. Listeners, please don't get me wrong. Film Rhapsody is not going anywhere, but we feel we've come to a natural end for our episodes in 2019. So, in our next and final episode of Season 1 of the Film Rhapsody podcast, we have something really special to present to you. Written and directed by Russell Lee, we are proud to present Alice, the Radio Play, Part 1. The Alice feature film is literally moments away from taking over our lives, and we want you to love the film as much as we're currently loving producing it. So, from Russell and I, we wish you a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and look out for our season finale just before New Year's Eve. I'm Dan Sanguinetti, and you've been listening to Film Rhapsody.
Film Rhapsody is produced by Dan Sanguinetti and Russell Lee for Sanguinetti Media. Head to sanguinettimedia.com.au to subscribe to all our episodes.
Oh, I didn't record it.